welcome to your mental highness. I am Dr. Janae Lomaski, better known as Dr. J. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist in private practice in Boca Raton, Florida, and I am here for you to hopefully lift up your spirits, help you feel empowered, give you some strategies or tools you can use in this roller coaster of life, hopefully feel less stressed, less angry, less anxious, less scared, less lonely. Boy, I'm trying to do a lot for you. Anyway, I'm doing it for you and I'm doing it for me. You are my royal listeners and this is your mental highness. And I want you to feel royal. I want you to feel high in all good things in your life. So I hope that today, by now, because this is, I think, my 4th episode, that you know it's BYOC, which means bring your own crown. So for all the kings and queens out there, and if you don't call yourself that, you should. That's the only should I'll say you should do. Put on your crown. And if you come as a guest on my show and you don't have a crown, I will supply one for you. So we're going to get right into today's show. I have a lot to talk about as always. And today I am literally dedicating the show to all of you that consider yourself or know that you are an oversharer, an overfunctioner, a rescuer, a people pleaser, tend to be heroes, tend to put on your invisible cape. This is going out to you because I want you to learn from this show. And what I'm going to teach you today is about staying in your lane. Yep, staying in your lane. And I mean staying in your psychological lane. And I'm going to explain what that means. I also, of course, have some examples for you today that I wrote down, some real life stories, some of my own personal stories, and some are patients that I've worked with that have come in and shared the same things over and over again. So hopefully you can relate to this. I can't imagine who will not relate to this. I think at some point we all, if we're a people pleaser, overfunctioner, or, just are worried about taking care of others' needs, we do these things. So the most important thing to remember is that you must have healthy boundaries. I say this all the time. Got boundaries? Well, I hope you do. I hope they're healthy ones. Sometimes I notice people will have boundaries in certain areas of their life, but not in all their areas. So I know for me in my personal life, it's been a journey to have good boundaries because I pretty much was just like, it was like open season all the time. Like you can come in and go out and come in and go out as you want, and that's not okay. So let me start a little bit about talking about, I use analogies a lot because I'm very visual, so I hope you can get this. So think about when you're driving on the highway or driving on the street or driving on the road, wherever the heck you're driving actually, and you're driving and you ever get so relaxed, so to yourself. For me, my car is my safe place. That's where I feel the most at peace, especially, of course, when I'm alone. Most at peace, gathering my thoughts, or sometimes just not thinking, just focusing on the road, just feeling that kind of meditative feel as you're just driving down the street or the road. So you're in your lane, and there's lots of other lanes, right? Sometimes it's 2 lanes, sometimes 3 lanes. Sometimes more. Driving in your lane. When I'm driving in my lane and I'm enjoying driving in that lane, I get really pissed off, okay? And I say certain words that are not good words when people cut me off. If someone cuts me off, I don't know about you, but when someone cuts me off, it pisses the crap out of me, okay? I don't like to be cut off. And I'm mindful of not cutting someone off either, because I like to drive fast at times. Maybe that's the Brooklyn in me. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. And boy, growing up in Brooklyn, you had to learn how to defensive drive and offensive drive at times. So I am mindful about not cutting anyone off. And when I think of these lanes, okay, so when you stay in your lane and someone else stays in their lane, think about it as your life journey lane, okay? This is your life. So sticking in a lane is like your life journey. And in that lane, you are going to have healthy boundaries. And in that lane, you're going to set limits, right? We can't go like from 0 to 100. Well, some of us may, but should not. So think about what that entails, staying in your own lane, staying in your lane of life. So think about now friends, family members. Think about your relationships, your boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife, whatever type of partner you have, whatever type of relationship you have. Do you stay in your lane, or are you swerving into their lane, or are they swerving into your lane? What I mean by that is you can only do so much in your own life, where if you start to do so much for someone else, that is cutting into their lane of life, okay? So you don't want to cut in anyone's lane. Sometimes we feel we can't help ourselves, right? Someone will say something, let's say at work or the office, or you see someone crying or someone looks really upset. It's okay to momentarily go over and say, hey, are you okay? You know, you seem a little down, or, do you need something? Those are okay, because there's some limits to that. You're asking, what's appropriate. But now think about your personal relationships, because this is where it really happens when we're in personal relationships. Like I said, family, friends, intimate partners, or even colleagues at work, things like that. So let me share with you some things that I wrote down that I did not want to forget to say today, about staying in your psychological lane. And it's really like sticking to the side of the road in emotional traffic. Think about that as you're driving. All this emotional traffic going on. Well, I want you to stick in your lane, okay? Not go into the hot mess or the drama of someone else's or everyone else's emotional traffic. And I'm doing this show today on Your Mental Highness because I am reiterating this to myself, okay? I've worked on this for a really long time. And I continue to preach and preach and preach about boundaries, about setting limits. And I've become so much better at it in my own life. And I need the practice to keep it that way. So in anything in life, when we want to succeed, when we want to do better, when we want to improve our sense of self, we have to practice. We don't say, well, I know it now, I'm just not going to think about it, because that doesn't work. It's always good to give yourself, here we go with the car thing, a tune-up, right? We need a tune-up. We need a mental health tune-up. We need an emotional tune-up. We need a tune-up on your boundaries, and we need a tune-up on setting limits. We need a tune-up on staying in your own lane, okay? So how do we do this? Well, we have to prioritize our own needs. Yes, this is not about being selfish. You have to prioritize your needs and wants before you can actually help someone else or share information. Aren't we all like the best if we have a friend that calls us with a problem? Mind you, we may have the same problem or had the same problem. We become freaking experts in their life, and we sound so good, right? We give the best advice. It's like, wow, you're amazing. Like, everyone should be a psychologist when we do this because we sound so good. But remember what we do for our own selves, right? Are we taking the same advice? Are we actually doing it? Are you doing it? Are you over-functioning? Are you oversharing? Are you rescuing? Are you putting yourself in someone else's lane of life? Get back in your lane. I'm going to say it over and over. Stay in your lane. It's not your business. It actually helps to say that to yourself. It's not your business. What is that expression? Not my, oh my gosh, I'm terrible at expressions. Not my circus, not my monkey, right? I hope I said that right. If not, let me know. Not my circus, not my monkey. We say that for a reason, okay? And it doesn't mean, again, being selfish, and it doesn't mean that you're not a considerate or compassionate person. But way too many of you are overdoing it for someone else and then getting emotionally drained, right? It's like, again, a car analogy. It's like your battery died. Like, if your battery died and nobody's there to put in a new battery or to give you a jump, what are you going to do? So I want you to think about how you behave in your relationships as you're in your lane of life. And you have family lane, and you have relationship lane, and you have friendship lane, and you have colleague lane. Like, are you swerving in other people's lanes, or are you cutting them off? What about even talking to someone and giving advice when they don't even ask because you're an empath? Well, you don't need to do it if you're an empath. If you're an empath, especially if you're an empath, you need to make sure that you know your limits. You need to make sure that you have boundaries. Otherwise, you are going to be emotionally drained, like your battery will be drained, okay? And if you do this a lot, crossing over in someone else's lane, helping them with everything from their work to their trying to make them a better person, giving them advice that maybe they never take. If you keep doing that over and over and over, then you are going to feel used. You are going to feel exhausted. And staying in your lane is going to be the only way that you're going to feel better. So I'm going to give you some examples today about staying in your lane. You're going to identify your own values. Hopefully today you're going to do this with me. I really want you to think about you. What are your values? What are your morals? What are your priorities? You know, when people said this to me about priorities, someone asked me recently, what are your priorities? And I think about years ago, I didn't have time for my own priorities because everyone else was a priority. I was running around helping and healing and doing things for other people. This is like in my personal life. And when someone asked me, what is my priority? I was like, I guess helping others. Now, that's what I do for a living, right? I'm a psychologist, and even being a psychologist and helping all my royal listeners and my royal patients, clients who really I adore, you know that, I still have to have boundaries for my own mental health, for my own emotional health. So it's important regardless. And I just think thinking about staying in your lane and driving and staying in your lane is going to help you feel better and happier and healthier in your own life, in your own way of sense of identity, okay? Now, people say a lot of times in relationships it's really hard. So in your intimate relationships, romantic relationships, friendships, best friends, sometimes it's the hardest in those because we become so enmeshed. We, want to make them happier, better, healthier for themselves, but also for us, right? We want a better partner. We want a friend that's as much of a best friend as we are. But what if they're just not? What if their level is a different level? What if they just don't want to? Then what are you going to do? And maybe you're already saying, I'm going to hit my head against the wall, because that's what it actually feels like. Hitting your head against the wall, doing it again and again and again, and it's not going to work. So if you stay in your lane, they may figure it out. They may figure out how to drive their own lane of life. Actually, they probably will, more so than when you come and take over and go in their lane. Okay? And this goes also for not allowing someone in your lane, because you don't want anyone over functioning for you. You don't want anyone doing more for you, because that's called an enabler. And that's going to actually have you doing less and being less capable and feeling less productive. And that's not going to make you happy and healthy either. Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane of life. Okay? So I talked about setting boundaries with family and friends, colleagues, and relationships. What are your boundaries? When do you take personal space or personal time? And if you don't, well, that is another should that you should do. You can't have a healthy emotional and mental life if you don't have boundaries and if you don't set limits. It's like got milk, got boundaries. Remember, you cannot pour from an empty cup. I love that expression. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And maybe you have been, but I know that you are struggling if you're really pouring from an empty cup. So you must prioritize your own well-being to be really happy. Okay? And isn't that the goal? We all want to feel happy. We all want to feel healthy. I mean, that's my goal. And I work on it every day. So, yes, it's knowing when to mind your own business. And I am going to be direct today, okay? So I want someone to be direct with me too, because that helps me, right? It's like mind your business, stay in your lane. Sometimes that's better than kind of being wishy-washy about it or walking on eggshells. So if you're doing too much, functioning too much for someone, or if you're oversharing, you got to stop the oversharing. It just means you're insecure, or it means that you need more attention. There's nothing wrong with needing attention, but then let's do some soul searching and let's understand what that's about. Maybe you're not with the right people that nurture you, right? You want to make sure that you're in a nurturing relationship. And again, work and colleagues, that's maybe a little bit different, but it should be mutual. I was saying in one of my other episodes about make this year, 2025, about matching energy. Have you been doing that? Matching energy? I've been matching energy. And it's really interesting when you match energy and someone is just not reaching the amount of energy you give them. I just stop. I'm just like, what? Okay, you're not going to call, or you're not going to ask how I am when I ask how you are. Well, and I'm done. It has nothing to do with being selfish. It just has to do with matching energy. So I hope, if you can relate, I hope that you're doing this. Because I want you to be a better you this year, okay? And I want you to feel better. So I want you to resist the urge to play the psychologist. Resist the urge to be the coach. Resist the urge to be this is a great one, the psychic or the fortune teller, right? It's just, even if you do have these qualities, even if you do have these skills, don't do it if this is your personal life. It's just, again, not healthy for you. So, like I said, not my circus, not my monkey. Stay in your lane. And it also means be aware of your strengths and your limits. You know, you may think that you're Wonder Woman. We talked on my last show about Wonder Woman and what is your, who are you as a superhero? Who would you become? I think I talked about like Catwoman or something because she has 9 lives. And I'll talk about that on another show, my 9 lives, because I literally think I've used them up and probably are going on 9 more. Can you relate? I'm talking about medical stuff and abusive stuff and all the great stuff that we go through on this journey of life together. And coffee helps. I know I mention in every episode, but for me, coffee is my happy place. And I don't know if you know your happy place, but if you don't, please identify your happy place or happy thing, as simple as coffee. And that is something that does lift me up and make me happy. Knowing when to help and knowing when to hand someone the map. Okay, so listen to this. I know it's difficult to do this for some, right? Especially if you're such a people pleaser, and I'm not expecting you to change overnight. But I'm asking you, if you believe that your cared about person can be better, do something better, and you are resisting the help because you are listening to my show and you know that it's not healthy for you, write it out for them once and say, I thought about this. You've been struggling or complaining about so-and-so. Why don't you, whatever it is, go about doing this? It's just a suggestion. But one time, and that's it. You get one time, and that's it. If they say yes, great. If they say no, that's great too. Not your problem, not your circus, not your monkey. Go back in your lane. So staying in your lane, like I said, is important. And it's about keeping your mental engine running smoothly. You ever think about that? What keeps your mental engine running smoothly? Not when you are giving so much of your thoughts, feelings, and actions to someone else or many people. That's not going to do it. Stay in your lane. You stay in your lane, they stay in their lane, and they will learn. At least it'll be a better way for them to learn than you swerving into their lane. Okay? I am going to share with you some real life examples. These are just some of my favorite of staying in your psychological lane. So I'm going to share with you some stories that happened to me and also that some patients came in and told me about that happened with them. So I want you to take note of them. So when you listen, maybe you can jot this down, write it down, or if you're on your phone, put it in your notes or something. I'm going to tell you what not to do, and then I'm going to tell you what to do instead, okay? So here's one that is a personal thing for me, and maybe you can relate as well. Resist the urge to fix someone else's relationship problems. Come on, I know that you had to have a friend or a family member or a colleague that talks about their love life over and over, though. I mean, we can all talk about our love lives, but someone must stand out for you over and over. So I've had many of these in my life, but this particular example is from years ago. So this particular friend of mine was venting over and over about her on again, off again relationship. On again, off again. I love him. I can't stand him. I'm back with him. I'm breaking up with him. does he want me? Doesn't he want me? Do you think he wants me? Do you not? We're getting engaged. We're getting married. We're breaking up. So it was that for a long, long time. But then this one got even worse. Then she starts telling me how he's yelling at her. Okay. So you may have that part. And if that part without the yelling, and I'm going to get into something more abusive, but before that, just the person that goes on again, off again, and on about the love story and not, you are better off saying to them, that sounds tough, going back and forth with how you feel and how you guys are. How are you feeling about it? Put it back on them. Do not give them answers, okay? You're not their psychologist or therapist. You're not their guru of relationships. Just ask them, wow, validate them, right? That sounds tough. Sounds like you're struggling. How are you feeling about it? And let them do the work, okay? So, but this particular thing I just have to share with you. It was many years ago, and she started telling me that he yells at her, and then when he gets really mad, he slaps her around a little bit, just a little bit, okay? Because that's okay when it's a little bit. No, it's definitely not okay when it's a little bit, okay? Not even a tiny bit. So she tells me this. So at the time, I was very much invested in my girl friendships, and I went up to him and said, hey, like, I heard you guys, really get into it, and sometimes your fights get heated. I thought I was being like good about this, and I'm just saying, like, if there's anything I can do, or if there is any way, like, you can kind of vent somewhere else and get out that stress or anger or whatever, I'm happy to, be here for you guys, or maybe, you can talk to someone, whatever. Anyway, he's like, what? He says, that's not true, and so on and so forth. Anyway, needless to say, fast forward to she, who came to me desperate. I remember we were at a movie. She came to me desperate with this information and crying hysterically, by the way. She then comes at me and says, how dare you? This is ridiculous. I'm like, but you asked me to help, and you asked me to talk to him. Like, she asked me to do what I did, and then she went off on me. They were both angry with me. They both end up getting married. They have been in an abusive relationship for a long time, then got divorced and married other people. Anyway, that's the story. The point is, stay in your lane. Okay. I should learn after that one. Stay in my lane. Okay. Here's another one. So I am a parent. I'm a mom, and I have a 16-year-old son. And I want to know if you're a parent, you can really relate to this, or if not a parent, then I'm sure you have seen or heard this. So it's letting go of unsolicited parenting advice. Okay. So let's just say, I'll never forget the time that I was in Walmart and I saw this woman yelling and screaming at her. It had to be maybe a 4 or 5 year old. And the kid is screaming, and the yelling of this parent was so bad. I was like, oh my God, this poor kid's getting abused. And of course I went in, not of course, maybe you don't know, but I went in and I said, hey, is there anything I can do that helps? Like, who am I wearing again, my invisible cape, right? I'm going to save this situation and this child. And of course the parent looked at me and said, who are you to say anything? And then proceeded to tell me that the child was eating handfuls of candy. And when the mother took the candy away, the child had another package of candy that I guess took from the shelf and started, so the parent got crazed. Point is, stay in my lane. You have to stay in your lane. Now, of course, if I saw full-on abuse, I would report it, okay, to the police. But Parents yell, parents scream, they feel out of control, they get upset. That's going to be another episode I'm going to help you on. Instead of reacting, respond to things. Because I'm going off on a tangent for a second, but when we react, it's because we feel scared or not in control. So that's why we yell, parents, when we worry. But I'm going to teach you ways to be calmer and be able to respond to situations and communicate better. So if you see a parent handling their toddler or 5-year-old or whomever, right, public meltdown, don't swoop in with, oh, you know what worked for my kids? That's like the worst we can do. You instead, unless they ask for help, you need to respect a boundary. You need to stay in your lane, okay? So even just less of just annoying things, you see a parent doing something that you may not do, right? It's none of our business. We need to stay in our lane. And again, it gives you more strength and more energy to work on your own life, to get your own shit together, because I'm sure you need to get your shit together, right? You know how I like the word shit. Get it together. How is this one? Here's another one. Not taking on coworkers' emotional baggage. Let's see. We can talk about people that come into work, not necessarily my work, although I can't say not, but and we know that they stink from alcohol from either the night before or the morning coffee or drugs, right? They reek from whatever, weed or something. Now, if it's extreme and you work in a certain office place and there's a policy and you have to report it, okay, then you report it. But unless someone asks for help, it's really not good to just swoop in. Swooping is not good here, okay? And I love the word swoop and I love to swoop, but not when you're not asked to swoop. Don't, okay? If you have a colleague that, let's say, is fuming over another colleague, you know how we can get into like office gossip? Well, rather than joining in and bashing the person or taking sides or joining in on a pity party, again, validate. That sounds frustrating. That sounds difficult. And then redirect to something that's more productive. Or if the person is really emotional, just validate. I'm sorry that you're having this emotional experience right now. That's it. Don't start offering stuff and get crazy and overfunction and overshare because it's so easy to do. Get back in your lane. Get back in your lane and let them work it through, because that leads to drama. And I hear all the time, I don't like drama. You don't like drama. He doesn't like drama. She doesn't like drama. But we're all in drama. Drama is, I want to know someone if you can get through a week without drama. I love when I hear, I can't I'll tell you right now, there's no, well, in my profession, no, but even in my personal life, no way. Okay. I would love to know you if you can get through a full week. Okay. That's 7 days in my book with no drama. I want to know what that looks like and how you do it. Okay. Call your mental highness or text me or email me or however you can get in touch with me. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, whatever. My email, drjlomaski@gmail.com. I don't think I ever give that out. drjlomaski@gmail.com. And I will be having a Your Mental Highness email coming your way too, so you can connect with me, because I'd love to connect with you. So another one is respecting boundaries in friendships. Okay. So this one is great. You know when you don't reply or respond right away to someone's text message? This is one of my biggest pet peeves. I don't know if it's yours. And when you don't reply, they do a question mark and then another question mark. And then a few seconds later, another question mark. I don't know about you, but it literally makes my skin crawl. Okay. I like it. It really makes my skin crawl. It drives me absolutely crazy. It's a boundary. Or, yes, it's a boundary, and I'm working, and I'm tired, and I need space, or emotionally drained, or 1,000 things. Why can't we just let people be? If they don't respond, I'm sure they saw it. I know I see it. And I will get back to you. Sometimes I don't want to get back to people if I don't have it in me. I want to be my best for you. So it's not even against you. It's like, let me kind of replenish and then I will respond, or let me think about it, because my friendships are meaningful and I don't want to just quickly respond and not think about what you're saying. So on that note, before I go on, I'm going to put on a crown because I wanted to share with you. I have my crystal crown. I don't know if you can see, that's kind of like these really cool, I forget what type of crystals, but it will come to me. Then I have these like diamond crystals with purple, big heavy crystals, cheap Party City hat, no crystals, crown. And then this one. This is a new crystal crown that I got through Amazon. And I have to tell you, it is so pretty. It's clear crystals, right? It's these clear, what are these called? I forget. It will come to me. But these clear crystals, they're stones. They are something. I should have wrote it down. I don't remember, but it was really nice. And they're clear, and I think they clear all your energy. So if you're not into crystals, I respect you, but it's really cool to try to pick one up and see if you actually feel something on an energetic level. Sometimes it just like clears all the crap from your day and gets rid of the shit and has you feeling better. Okay, so with friends, if you are one of those people that send a question mark because they didn't respond, please don't. Please don't. And don't take it like it's against you if they don't respond right away. Learn patience, some deep breathing, take some space for yourself, okay? Then we have people that will say, and these are from my patients telling me, if they don't respond right away to a friend, a family member, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, whatever, they get a text from them saying, did I do something wrong? What? Okay, what? Like, just everyone be patient with yourself and with others, okay? Recognize they may be busy, okay? They may just need to take some time. Like I said, you do not make their silence about you. Stay in your lane. Go back into driving on your lane of life. They'll get back to you. And if they don't get back to you, well, then you know what? Maybe that's a message. And maybe you can discuss it with them face to face. So, like I said, boundaries in friendships, no question marks, please. Another one is do not, and I kind of spoke about it before, but do not go do these armchair diagnosing like TikTok, right? TikTok psychologists that are not psychologists, that you're reading stuff and some of the material you're reading is not accurate. It's not research-based. It's not statistically significant. That's when I'm going to pull rank. I am a licensed clinical psychologist, and when I give you information, I make sure it's credible because you're my royal listeners and I only want you to have the best and the truth, and I want you to really be better and healthier than ever before. So do not go when you see a family member again or a friend or a colleague stressed or whatever. I love when people say, well, you're anxious, you have anxiety, you may have a panic disorder, right? Or You probably have PTSD. I know we want to do that because we think we're helping, but sometimes the label makes it worse. Like, let people figure it out, all right? We do figure it out unless someone asks for help. And I know because I'm not big on asking for help, and that's not good because I want you to ask for help if you want it. I want you to ask for comfort, for love, for a hug, for whatever you need. Please ask for it. And when some people have said to me, including some of my patients, well, he or she should know that's what I need. No, that's not true. Okay? I'm going to say it over and over. No. And even if you think that it's true, I'm telling you it's not true because it's not about them. It's about what you're doing or you're not doing. Okay? So ask for it. What do you need? You need a foot rub? I get it. I need a foot rub too. I don't know many people that'll line up for it, but I'll give it to myself. I don't know. Actually, I have given it to myself. You have to get a really good cream or oil. I like Dr. Teal's oil. Oh my God, do I like Dr. Teal's oil. You can get it on Amazon. I know Amazon is not a sponsor, but you know what? They should be with all of my Amazon purchases. I bet you can relate because I know you must do a lot of Amazon too, or I think you do, but who doesn't is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, ask for it. Do not diagnose. Do not say to someone, oh, you need therapy. Don't come off like that. See what they need. Let them talk about it, okay? Stay in your lane. Don't swerve into their lane. Don't cut them off. That's what we're doing when we say things like that. So get back in your lane. You have a really nice lane. I've seen it. It's really nice. You stay in yours, I stay in mine, and they stay in theirs. Here's a really good one. You ready? Not turning every debate into a personal crusade. Okay, I'm not going to talk about politics and I'm not going to talk about religion. Well, I say that. I probably will, but I have an opinion. You have an opinion. I respect your opinion even if I don't agree. Even if I disagree, I honestly respect your opinion because it's part of you, and that's great. And I expect you to respect my opinion. But for us to literally spiral into an emotional argument, or even I've seen physical arguments, that is so bad. Really, my royal listeners, that's really bad. Do not go to that level, okay? I'm very concerned about the mental well-being of this world. We cannot go there. I'm going to teach you in another show. I just thought about a great topic, and it's about controlling your emotions. We can control anger, sadness. You can control it. It's uncomfortable, but you can control it. We need to learn to become more appropriate and to do things in small doses and not spiral into this emotional craziness. Rather, and I know this is difficult to do, you can just say, that's your opinion, and I respect that you have an opinion. That's it. Or you can say it's an interesting perspective, and focus on, I don't know, saying, let's go get some Dairy Queen. I don't know, or whatever, a coffee, a Starbucks. But don't spiral into an emotional or physical fight, okay? That's not good for you. That's not good for them. So stay in your lane. Get back into your lane. I have an opinion, you have an opinion. Let's get back on our lanes. Got it? We're still on that lane. You're still in your own life journey. So what does this all mean, right? Staying in your lane means knowing when to be supportive, when to back off, when to step back, right? It's when to hit cruise control, guys. All right? Just hit cruise control. Take it easy on yourself and don't overfunction. Don't overdo it for someone else. Don't put on that invisible cape unless it's like Halloween or a costume party or something like that, okay? By staying in your lane, you know what it's going to do for you? It's going to reduce your own stress level. It's actually going to make you feel better than, not less than. It's going to improve your relationships. It's going to show up in better self-care. You will have more time for yourself. So stay in your life lane, okay? Stay in your own psychological, emotional lane. Do not cross over into this traffic. There's so much out there. I'm telling you, please take it upon yourself when you're thinking today or the next day or the next day, stay in your lane and grab yourself back and enjoy the ride, okay? You've got your own stuff to deal with. You've got your own bumps and potholes, right, in your lane. So just stick in your own and have those healthy boundaries and set those healthy limits and be good to yourself, okay? Stay in your lane. That is what I have to tell you about today, what I'm going to work on, what I hope you're going to work on. It's still the beginning of the new year. It's a good opportunity for you to stay in your lane. So I want to thank you again for coming back and listening to my show, Your Mental Highness, or watching it, seeing me in my crown. And I don't know what these are called, these crystals, but they are, I don't know. Someone before told me, oh, those are, and I forgot. It's going to drive me crazy. So, of course, in my next episode, I'm going to tell you what they are. So I just want to thank you, and please follow, share, give me a review, like on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on YouTube. I'd love to hear from you. I want to stay connected with you. Please go out and get your crown if you haven't gotten one. I'm hoping you have at least 2 by now, okay? So go and get your crown. Feel like the king and queen, the royal person that you truly are. Feel good about yourself. Take care of yourself. And I will see you next time. Bye.